Welcome to chapter 12 of the book of Judges, continuation with Jephthah. It says, "And the sons of Ephraim gathered together and came to Sephinah," wherever that was, "and said to Jephthah, Why is it that you went to wage war against the sons of Ammon, and you did not call us to go with you?" Now this is reminiscent of Gideon. Gideon had the same problem. These people from Ephraim were unusual people. I guess they must, Ephraim is right over here, Mount Ephraim, and Gilead is in Gad, and Ephraim is in that whole area. And now they've come against two of the judges, Gideon and now Jephthah, in the same problem, accusation that they didn't call Ephraim to help them when they went eastwards to against the Ammonites, which were all over in this area here. And so they even go as far as says, "We will burn your house over you with fire." Terrible people. And Jephthah said to them, "I was a man pleading, and my people and the sons of Ammon humbled me exceedingly, and I yelled out to you, and you did not deliver me from out of their hand. And I saw that there was not one delivering." Now delivering, we have sozo, did not deliver. The sozo is the verb, and King James would have called it saved. You did not save me from their hand. But delivering is an ongoing action. It's not a done deal. One thing, as I've mentioned many times, like in the last chapter I showed where rescue was, right instantaneous. But here they're delivering. There was not one delivering. "And I put my life in my hand, and I passed over to the sons of Ammon, and the Lord delivered them over into my hands." Here we also see something that's interesting. The preposition in, 17:22. We have in right here, and then we have into here, and then in again, and then against here. Now you'd say, well, why all three? Well, prepositions are very difficult because in one culture you could say, as I've mentioned, if a man was in trouble with his wife, here we would say he was in the doghouse. They might say he was behind the doghouse or on top of the doghouse, something like that, a different word. And you really couldn't translate it the same way into English because nobody knew what he was talking about. And so here, put my life in, you wouldn't put against because it's in my hand. You could put into my hand, and I passed over to the sons of Ammon, and the Lord rescued them over in. You could put in or into my hand there, basically. "And why did you ascend to me in this day to wage war in me?" Now, you wouldn't say in here. They raised it against. So here you can see the three different usages of the, that should be highlighted, and no, it's not because it doesn't use in. And Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and waged war against Ephraim. So now we have a war between the Jews. And here's Gilead and Ephraim. The Jordan River is in between, which will be important. And the men coming through Safe of Ephraim said, "You are Gilead in the midst of Ephraim and in the midst of Manasseh." Well, they're in between Manasseh and Ephraim. You can see that. Well, it doesn't have the tribes on this one. I think another one did have it. I don't know where it went. Oh, yeah, anyway. "And Gilead was first to take the ford of the Jordan of Ephraim." So there was a place that people crossed over. It was probably shallow, and the rapids were no rapids, easy to cross over where people went. "And it came to pass when the ones coming through Safe said to them of Ephraim," the ones coming through Safe of Ephraim said to the ones in Gilead, "We should pass over indeed, that the men of Gilead and the we should pass over indeed. And the men of Gilead, there should be a period here. Let me put a text and do that. Period. Have to use a different keyboard. There's a period. And there. Great program. PDF expert. And the men of Gilead said to them, well, are you not from out of Ephraim? That was their enemy, aren't you? Are you an Ephraimite? Why should we let him go through? And they said, we are not. Then they, the Gileadites, said to them, well, say indeed, Stakis, the Hebrew word, whatever it was, and if they were not straightly able to speak thus, then they would take hold of them and slay them at the ford of the Jordan. This is interesting, because there's a difference in the peoples within Israel and how they pronounced certain words. So this is where you really get into some confusion on the pronunciation, making words audible. Here we have stakis, but somebody that didn't know, and I didn't have the dot above the A where the accent goes, they could say it's stakis instead of stakis. But this was a problem in those days. I had a Greek friend who would come. We would drive up to Portland, Oregon, and we'd get to a street called Terwilliger, and I'd ask the person, "What's the name of the next street?" And that person from Greek couldn't say it. They tried to, and they would get it all mixed up in their mouth. They just couldn't do it. Then I kind of chuckle. Maybe it was probably a bad thing to do. But another time I went to Boston, went to Harvard University to go to the Houghton Rare Book Library. And so I stayed there in Cambridge, and I walked over to Harvard Yard, and there was a gate with a man sitting in the gate, and he said, "Can I help you? Can I help you?" And I said, "I'm looking for the Houghton Library." You know where it's at? "Yeah, you go down the street, you go down the sidewalk, and when you get to the corner, you turn left at the corner, you go down half the block, you go up 8 that, and you're at the Houghton." And I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Yeah, go down the sidewalk, and when you hit the corner, you turn left at the corner, you go on halfway down the block, you go up 8 stairs, and you're at the Houghton." And I said, I'm really sorry, I don't understand." He said, "What's the matter with you? Don't you speak English?" So the difference of the language still is going on today. If you can't say it straightly, then take hold of them, slay them at the Jordan. And fell from out of Ephraim in that time 42,000. Sounds like an awful lot. And again, with the numbering of the Hebrew, I would like to have somebody would go through in all these and see possibilities of other numbers because of the similarities of so many of groups of 2 Hebrew letters. And Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Then Jephthah died. Jephthah the Gilead died and was entombed in his city, Gilead. See if I can find it. I guess I'm not going to be able to find it. It was a chart that I had on the years of all the judges, but I have it here on my notepad. And basically, Jephthah reigned 6 years, and it says 18 years before in Gilead there was no judge. So now we're at 325 years. So Jephthah now dies, and we continue here. Let me get to the tools. Well, it's not jumping over like it's supposed to. So I'll do it by hand. Well, we can work it out. And Ebisan from out of Bethlehem judged Israel after him. Now, he might be, I'm not sure, he might be of the tribe of Benjamin, I'm not sure, but anyway, he was in Bethlehem. It could be Judah. And there were to him, it would be Judah, because this is where Jesus was born. He is the tribe of Judah. And there were to him 32 sons and 30 daughters being sent out. And he brought in 30 wives for his sons from outside. Now, exactly what outside means, outside of the Jews or outside of the tribe, don't know. And he judged Israel 7 years. So now we have Isban, 7. So now we're at 332 years have gone by. Isban died and was entombed in Bethlehem. And Elon, the Zebulonites, judged after Israel after him, from Zebulun. And he judged Israel for 10 years. So now that brings it to 342. And Elon the Zebulunite died and was entombed in Aijalon in the land of Zebulun. And Abdon, son of Hillel the Pirathonite, judged Israel after him. And there were to him 40 sons and 30 sons of his sons being mounted upon 70 foals. And he judged Israel 8 years. So now we have 350 years gone by. And Abdon, the son of Hillel the Pirathonite, died and was entombed in Pirathon in the land of Ephraim. So he was an Ephraimite in the mountain of Amalek. Now we have those 3 judges. Our next judge will begin chapter 13, Samson. But the 13th chapter is, I think, is all before his birth. And it's a fantastic, wonderful chapter, I believe, one not to be missed, and I hope you won't. I hope you'll join us until the next video seminar. Until then, God bless.